Shintarō Midorima was the vice captain and shooting guard of the Generation of Miracles, who now plays for one of the three kings of Tokyo, Shūtoku High. I consider Midorima the most fortunate and calculating of the Generation of Miracles, and also the most aware of himself. Today we'll go over Midorima and how to be like him. Be reserved. Midorima is very reserved and does not fool around. He keeps a calm and cool expression to himself and is very confident in his abilities. Even when taking shots, he is very relaxed and does not even follow his shot and walks back to the end of the court because he knows it's falling in. I think his calmness is very distinct from the other Generation of Miracles because he is a 3-point specialist and takes long range jump shots which should have low chance of scoring, but still he does so with calm ease. Being reserved can be great because you do not come off as arrogant and cocky and just understand your abilities and how they help you. Some ways to be reserved are finding friends who understand you. A common misconception about people who are quiet or reserved is that they do not have any friends. This is simply not true. In fact, some quiet/reserved individuals find it easier to build strong friendships with people, in part because they focus on getting to know the other person instead of making idle small talk or going on about themselves. Make time to reflect on your day. If you're working or being more quiet and introspective, you should have some spare time to reflect on yourself and your day. Figure out which of your life experiences have been the most meaningful or enlightening, and examine why and how those experiences changed you. Use items for luck. Midorima believed heavily in horoscopes and brought lucky items with him everywhere. It would seem like an obsession to others and is a very different dynamic to how you play. He believes in the fate of God and uses these actions to determine how his day will go. I don't necessarily agree that an item will tell you how your day will go, but it can go uncalled for if you didn't have signs in life that gave you hints about how your life is going, or if you had items that gave you good luck. Researchers have found that people who believe they have luck on their side feel greater self-efficacy. The belief that we're capable of doing what we set out to do, and this belief actually boosts mental and physical performance. Be calculating. Midorima is a very calculating person. He analyzes his opponents and their skills and understands how many shots he takes in the situations he can be in. Cold, calculating people can function emotionally well and often have no trouble expressing their feelings when they need to. What characterizes them is their way of thinking, which tends to be more structured and pragmatic than that of other people. For example, people with this behavior often consciously discriminate when it is appropriate to express their emotions. This does not mean that they repress them. It is about having a certain degree of control over what they are feeling and having the ability to choose where they prefer to express it. People with this type of personality are characterized by presenting a relatively high level of rationality in the face of the different decision-making situations that they may encounter in their daily lives. They are subjects who do not act on the first impulse, but evaluate the context of the situation before proceeding. The same goes for the interpersonal relationships they have. They do not do this from an idealized perspective of the other person, but they are aware that each one is an individual being with tastes and interests that do not necessarily have to be shared by others. People who tend to be cold and calculating in general avoid being involved in activities that may represent unnecessary risks to their integrity, both physical and psychological. Another frequent characteristic of this type is a person that they do not speak lightly, but rather conscientiously evaluate what they are thinking, and make sure that it will not be imprudent to give their opinion at certain times. This type of subject find it difficult to trust others. They tend to maintain an attitude of suspicion in most situations, which is a circumstance they must learn to channel so that it does not become a limitation. The cold and calculating subject, although he does not represent a marked impossibility to relate to others, tends to be an independent person by his own decision. He feels more comfortable performing activities alone because in that way he feels a greater sense of control over the process. Be aware of your limitations. I would say Midorima was the most aware of his abilities and the limits to his body. When Generation of Miracles started to grow arrogant, Midorima was different from the rest. He never stopped practicing and still valued its importance. I think this is important because Midorima recognized that he could still get better by practicing. Midorima has great talent nonetheless, but his skill is great from hard work and a continued front. No matter how good you are, being able to make 100% of the shots you take in game is very hard. This type of accuracy took Midorima a lot of time and practice to be able to keep this ability up. He can shoot and score from anywhere in the court and must practice to still be able to do so. He also shoots a full court shot like a normal shot. To have that much strength and control in your body is not something that can be used with just talent. People like Aomine and Murasaki Bara, who never really practiced ever to become good, are great in their own skill set, but Midorima recognizes the limitations set to him from his abilities and capitalizes off of that. Be aware of yourself, and do not get comfortable just because you're doing well. The Generation of Miracles all thought no one could compare to them, and KiiNGKhyy came and opened the doors that they had all went through. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what anime character I should do next. Peace.